Alright, let's talk travel for a second, because 2026 is about to feel very different at the airport. Imagine saving for a trip, booking your flight, showing up at the airport, and being told you can't board. Not because your flight was canceled, but because of a rule you didn't even know existed. That's exactly what's happening to travelers in 2026. And in this video, I'll show you how to avoid it. If you're planning a trip in 2026, pause for a second. Because travel as we've known it is officially changing. New digital entry rules, stricter airport enforcement, added fees, and expanded travel bans are already stopping travelers before they even make it onto the plane. This isn't about panic, it's about preparation, because the people getting caught off guard are the ones who assume travel would work the same way it always has. The biggest shift happening in 2026 is what I call the digital border. For years, many travelers could just show up in places like Europe or the UK with a passport and go. That's no longer the case. Starting late 2026, most visa-free travelers will need something called ETIAS to enter 30 European countries, including France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Greece, and more. ETIAS is not a visa, but it is mandatory. It's a digital authorization you must apply for before you fly. And if you don't have it approved, the airline will deny boarding. It costs about €20. It's usually valid for 3 years or until your passport expires. And it allows multiple short trips. But the key thing to remember is this: no ETIAS on your phone means no flight. At the same time, the UK has its own system called ETIAS, and that becomes strictly enforced starting February 20th, 2026. It's a separate approval from ETIAS. It costs £16. And it applies to travelers from the United States, Canada, and many other visa-free countries. If your trip includes both the UK and Europe, you need both approvals. This is one of the biggest mistakes people will make in 2026, assuming one covers everything when it absolutely does not. Now let's talk about the United States, because changes here are affecting people in quieter ways. As of January 1st, 2026, the U.S. expanded travel restrictions to 39 countries. This mainly affects foreign nationals, not typical American tourists. But it matters a lot for people traveling on certain visas, for families with international connections, and for anyone who assumes entry rules won't change mid-planning. In many cases, visas issued before the cutoff date are still honored. And green card holders may still qualify, but this is exactly why checking entry rules before booking is critical. And if you're flying domestically inside the US, the Real ID situation is no longer optional. Real ID enforcement is fully active, and starting February 1st, 2026, TSA introduced something called the ConfirmID program. If you show up without a Real ID or a valid passport, you can pay $45 for a temporary identity verification that gives you a 10-day window to fly. It's expensive, it's non-refundable, and it's definitely not ideal, but it can save a trip if you're caught unprepared. The best move is still getting your Real ID now or traveling with your passport. Airports and airlines are also enforcing rules much more aggressively in 2026. Carry-on bags are being measured strictly. And that includes wheels, handles, and even overstuffed pockets. If your bag doesn't slide easily into the sizer, expect gate check fees that can run anywhere from $65 to over $100. Airlines are also displaying new emergency signage, telling passengers to leave their bags behind during evacuations, because too many people were stopping to grab laptops and carry-ons. The message is clear. Rules are tighter, patience is lower, and flexibility is gone. If Japan is on your travel list, there are changes there too. Japan has ended instant tax-free shopping, which means you now pay full price in stores and request your refund at the airport. That can mean longer lines and more time needed after security. On top of that, Japan's departure tax has tripled to 3,000 yen and is now built into ticket prices, which is part of the reason fares are creeping up. On a global level, 2026 is also a high-pressure travel year. It's a World Cup year, with matches hosted across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. That means crowded airports, higher hotel prices, and limited availability in peak travel months. Add that to new digital entry systems and stricter enforcement, and planning ahead becomes more important than ever. This is why traveling in 2026 really comes down to being informed and prepared. Apply for digital travel authorizations early. Double-check entry rules before you book, measure and weigh your bags at home. Budget for new fees and download official airline and government travel apps. Instead of relying on third-party sites that overcharge or scam travelers, and if you want help navigating all of this without the stress of missing something important, that's where working with a travel professional can make a real difference. Booking with TravelBation means your entry requirements, approvals, and timing are checked before you ever get to the airport. So you're not dealing with surprises at the gate. 2026 travel is definitely different, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. A little planning goes a long way, and having the right information makes all the difference. If you'd rather not guess your way through new travel rules, you can always book with TravelBation to make sure everything is handled before you even get to the airport. Let me know in the comments, which change surprised you the most? Hit that like button if this was helpful. And don't forget to subscribe. Safe travels, y'all. Travel in 2026 isn't impossible, it's just different. The travelers who do well are the ones who plan smarter, not later. Let me know in the comments, which change surprised you the most? Make sure to like and subscribe for more travel updates. And as always, safe travels.